Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7, and I am going to go through my verdict on this week's daily races. So to start off with, we're at daily race A at Lagos Maggiore in the Audi TT, and yes, it's a 4-lap race, not the longest race you could have, and it's at a track that is not one of my personal favourites. Now this is the second race we've done on this combination. Don't really know 100% where I'm pushing on this track, but we're going to go in and try and have some fun on this race. So going into turn 1, we're going to go round the outside, or try and go around the outside of the TT, the purple TT driven by Stubby in front of us. However, that's not going to work there. Decided to back out of that one and then see if we can make our way through this very tricky section. A lot of blind corners on this layout through the first sector. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a massive fan of it, although what I will say is when we had the Group 2 race here, it was quite enjoyable once I got used to it. So maybe it's just a case of practice, but yeah, it's not really one of my favourite combinations that I've ever had on Gran Turismo. The car, it's a bit weird. It's got a massive oversteer tendency, and yeah, it's not the best combination you're ever going to get. But we're going to go for a little bit of a move up the inside here, a little bit of contact, but I don't know, was it fair? Maybe not, maybe. But the guy behind us clearly not too happy about that, decides to give us a bit of a punt there in the rear, but we get away with that and keep it powered down with that 4-wheel drive and push on now onto the next lap. Now we're coming to the end of lap 1, start of lap 2, and we're going to give P5 a little bit of a bump draft here to try and get him past the car on the left, and that will then enable me to get up the inside. And then I think the car on the left just didn't realise we were actually on the inside, just went to turn in full attack and didn't realise that myself was on the inside, go straight into the outside. Now we do give him space on that left hand side there, even though he just did turn in on us, and we're up into P6. So now we're going to try and push on and see if we can catch up these two or get past these two. Looking into this corner, I didn't really want to go side by side with them in there, just probably end in chaos. Tiny tap from the car behind, but nothing too severe. And these two are going to go side by side. So Power Unit and Stephen Grice is going to go side by side through this left hand corner. Now this is quite a fast corner, so you have to be quite careful through here. And then this right hand corner, you've got to get it really turned in early and over the curb onto the grass, because then it enables you to get on the accelerator early. Now I had to kind of back out here, but we brake nice and early. They're going to go side by side. I decided to cut up underneath, and we're going to go for a nice move up the inside there. And we're going to get past the blue Audi TT, but we've still got Stephen on our right hand side, but we're both going about the same speed at this point. He's got the outside line, we've got the inside line. I'm not going to back out here, and this is actually really good racing as we go side by side through this section with this car, the way it handles. We take an early line, downshift to fourth to give him the space on the outside, and we both get through there without any contact at all. So pretty good racing. Nice job there, Stephen. And then we're going to go through this drift section, as I call it, because this Audi TT just likes to drift everywhere. But that was pretty much the end of the fun for that race. It was actually reasonably entertaining for the lap and a half that it lasted. But yeah, it's not my favourite combination. I would have liked a few extra laps maybe. But you can see we're going to skip to the end of lap 4 because nothing else happened up to that point, and we stayed pretty static with the car in front in P3, still 3.1 behind him. So not the most entertaining race. It was okay for a lap and a half. There definitely is potential to have some reasonable racing here, and I'm sure if you like this track you're going to enjoy it if you like these type of cars. It's just for me, it's not really one of my favorite combinations with this car and the short race and the track. So it's going to be a pretty mediocre 5.5 out of 10, chat. So let me know if you think that's fair. Let me know what you'd give that race. But we're going to move on to daily race B now at Kyoto in Group 3 with racing hard tyres. And again, it's only 5 laps, which for quite a shorter lap, it's not the longest race. I think it could have at least been 6 laps for this combination. And it's on racing hard tyres. But the racing hard tyres do bring some other cars into play here, because obviously some cars are a little bit stronger on the hard tyres versus some other cars, because obviously the Supra is going to be good here. But then I'm in the McLaren for this as we get overtaken straight away into turn 1 where I go a little bit too deep. We just jumped into this race from P8 speed, and yeah, no real practice, just trying to get used to it as we do it. So lose the position there straight away to Lawford in the Porsche, and then we're going to come up to this long left-hand corner. What I will say is, though, the McLaren felt really, really nice on this combination. We did 2 attempts at this race, and it did feel really, really good on the hard tyres. It seems to suit this layout with the good traction, you know, high-speed corners. There is a couple of acceleration zones which you're going to lose a little bit with the McLaren, but overall I think it's a pretty solid car for this track. So into the chicane, using the curbs as much as possible. Be very, very careful through this section because it's very easy to lose control of your car as you go through there. It's a very tricky chicane. Also have to be quite careful with the track limits. But yeah, it's an okay track. It's not really my favourite. Again, Kyoto, it's alright. It's an okay fictional track. It's nothing special, I think, is the best thing I can say about it. So I do prefer the other layout as well. The one with the added bit of track where it's a bit longer. I find that one a little bit more enjoyable, as P7 there in the Supra has just gone right over the corner and probably going to get a penalty, as you can see there, 0.5-second penalty. So he's going to lose a bit of time with that. And then as we come out of this final corner, you can see I think he gets a little bit loose there, and that's going to give us some momentum now into his slipstream and maybe go for a move. Can we go down the left hand side? He has got the slipstream, but we have got the momentum in the McLaren, and we've got the inside line also, so we should be able to get ourselves up into P7 here. So up into P7, hug the inside there, nice move done. And now we're going to try and push on and see if we can catch some of these other cars up in front of us. Now, obviously, I hadn't set a proper lap time here, so that's why we're starting a little bit further back, and we're starting to catch other cars up because the lap time we did wasn't really competitive. Big moment there as we're coming to the exit there, nearly lost control of the rear, but working our way through this really fast left-hand corner, and again into the fast chicane now. This is the tricky one where it's going to catch you out. You're going to see the Supra do exactly what I'm talking about here. So as we're coming through here, we go to the left and we see the Supra out of control, straight into the side of me, and luckily we only got damage from that. Luckily no penalty, because sometimes the penalty system can do some crazy stuff, and yeah, we got away with that one. He was out of control, he crashed into me, but luckily he wasn't a little bit further ahead also, because if it would have gone right across my front end, it probably would have took me out and pushed me into the wall. But luckily we're clearly safe for that, and we're now pushing on for P5. So let's see if we can catch up the Peugeot in front of us into the final corner, and now just trying to get a good exit from this final corner in the McLaren. McLaren, like I say, felt pretty good at this track. It felt nice to drive, reasonably enjoyable, but yeah, 5 laps. I think it could have been a little bit longer. I think this race could have even been 7 laps, but I think 6 laps as a minimum would have been a bit better. Racing hard tyres probably makes sense for this track because it allows probably more cars to be usable in terms of competitiveness, as we have a car there spinning out, the Citroen lost control and he's out of this race, and we're up to P5. We're going to go for a move on P4. It looks like he kind of lifted there. I'm not too sure whether he lifted and let us through, but yeah, that is myself up into P4 from P8 on the grid. So not a bad race considering it's only 5 laps long. And now we're going to try and push on to see if we can catch up B group in front of us. He's in the Supra, I think it is, up ahead there. So let's see if we can catch him up as we skip a little bit further on to the end of lap 4. And you can see we've managed to get right up behind B group here and see if we can go for a move somewhere. Now, I think B group wasn't fully used to the track yet and didn't really want to fight it too much. So I think he actually decided to just lift and let us through here. So he goes to the right and just lets us through. So you don't need to do that. By all means, feel free to race me. I do enjoy a good battle. So yeah, but maybe he felt a little bit safer doing that because I don't think he was fully warmed up. I think he wrote a comment on one of the videos saying he wasn't really up to speed and just felt safer just letting us through. So fair play to him. He did what he felt was best, and that is myself up into a podium position. But yeah, it's a so-so race. I think this is a daily race B. It's far from one of the best daily race Bs we've ever had. It's not the worst daily race B we've ever had, as we're going to go over the line in P3. But yeah, that's why I'm probably going to give this race, as you can tell, let me know what you think that you would give this race, what score you would give it. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, which I think is pretty fair. Some people will rate it higher if you enjoy that track. But we're going to move on to daily race C, the feature race at Le Mans in Group 2. And we have dynamic weather finally back on the game. It's been so long, as we're going to see straight away cars spinning off because the weather was in a really tricky position. You can see I'm on medium tyres. Some people are starting on intermediates. Some people are starting on the dry tyres. That's because the rain is going to go. But the rain is going to cause issues. So you can see, taking it very easy. We have another car off in the gravel there. Cars off behind us in the gravel. And we've got Mikhail Hazal, a previous Gran Turismo world champion, right behind us there, clearly on intermediate tyres. Just look at the grip that he's got compared to myself. We've also got Bradley behind me. He's on dry tyres, the same as me. And we're just taking this ultra cautious at the moment because you don't want to spin. One little mistake and you're going to lose so much time. You can also see that I have traction control on. In these conditions, it's quite advisable when you've got the dry tyres in very wet conditions like this, just to put the TC on. It'll make your life a little bit safer when you're pushing this car around Le Mans. But yeah, overall, made up this combination is back. It's one of my favourite combinations we've ever had as a Daily Race C. And yeah, we've had quite a few good races. It has been hampered a little bit this week towards the end by server issues, but I don't think we can actually affect the score with that because it's not the combination's fault. That is just PD with the update. So yeah, if we had done this on a Wednesday, we wouldn't even be thinking about the server issues. So you can see again a bit more chaos going into the braking zone there. We got a car going off to our right, Lucent there, going a little bit deep on the brakes. We've got Cheesy struggling for grip, and now we've got a clean bit of track in front of us. We've got Mikhail Zhao 4 seconds ahead. He's flying there on the intermediate tyres. However, you can see on the radar that it is going to start drying up soon. However, you can see also on the telemetry with the tyres, it is very wet. As we're coming into the braking zone for this corner, I brake very early here. You can see I'm taking no risk, get it slowed down nice and early. You can see Bradley maybe pushed a little bit too deep on the brakes there. He's gone off into the gravel, and that's myself back up into P6. And we can clearly see that P5 also is on intermediate tyres. So a lot of crazy action going on at the moment, and that is why I love dynamic weather races. I'm actually going to do some more of these on Sunday. I think we're going to do quite a long stream on Sunday, maybe if I've got time, and finish off the week hopefully and get some crazy weather races. So if you were looking to race online, hopefully the servers are fixed on Sunday. We're going to try and jump in and do some more of these before we test out the next week's Daily Race Cs, which is at Nürburgring Sprint Track, if you're wondering, and we're not sure if it's going to be Group 3 or Group 4. It's going to be on Racing Soft tyres, Time 6 tyre wear. So if you're wondering what the combo is, that's the combo for next week's Daily Race C. So we will be testing that out on Sunday and seeing, you know, what's Group 3 versus Group 4, stuff like that, what cars are going to be good. So now on to the, well, coming up to the end of lap 1. Going through here, you can see I'm pushing quite aggressively. The track is starting to dry out. However, you can see as we come through here, there just isn't the grip. I tried to take too much speed there, and I've made that stupid mistake into the gravel, and that's going to lose me quite a lot of time. You can see there, probably lost about 4 or 5 seconds with that. You can see Cheesy getting back past us, and then into the braking zone. We're going to have to be very cautious again because we've got dirty tyres with wet track is a recipe for disaster. So when that happens, take it easy because it's very easy to spin it up and make further mistakes. So skipping a little bit further on now to lap 2, and you can see the track is starting to dry out. You can see there is a dry line developing, but as I come through here, the curbs are still very wet. You can see the right hand side just skims the curb there, and that is a drift into turn 1, but luckily got away with that. No penalty. Yes, we're going to get dirty tyres, but no penalty, and maybe a second and second half loss of time there. So overall, we have lost quite a bit of time with the other incident, but we're still in this race. You can see Mikhail Zhao is 16 seconds ahead. However, the track is starting to dry out now, and this is going to be very interesting. As the track dries out, the cars in front now are all on intermediate tyres, I think, and I am on the dry tyres. So this is going to be very, very fun. You can see we're catching up by lap 3 here, start lap 3. We've caught up massively to Scotty in front of us there. He's now on the intermediate tyres, and he's struggling massively in the GTR, I think. So we're going to catch him up at a really fast rate here as we fast forward the action on the straight. And you can see because of the extra grip you get from the exit speeds with the dry tyres versus inters, you can see how much we're gaining. Also, GTR versus the CLK, it's not really going to be a battle because the CLK on acceleration will destroy that car, and with that being on inters, it's not got a chance against the CLK. So again, acceleration on this straight, we're into the slipstream, and now we're just going to pick up that slip all the way along this straight and see if we can get close to go for a move. Are we going to be able to get close enough at the end of this straight? Probably not. We're going to have to be patient and probably go for a move on the next straight after the chicane. So just picking up that slip, hitting that braking point. You can see starting to be able to push the braking. However, the curbs are still wet. You can see as I go over the curbs there's not much grip. So I'm having to be still quite careful because up onto the curbs, it's going to lose grip and you're going to lose a bit of time. But quite a simple move there past Scotty in the GTR. And now we're pushing up to Cheesy up ahead. You can see that we've gained over 6 seconds on him. And you can see we've actually gained on Mikhail Zhao. As we come to lap 3 here, we're 11 seconds behind. So not a massive amount of time gained on Mikhail on this lap. But you can see the extra grip there in the corner. Much more traction. And we're up into P5. So far, this is looking like quite a good decision to start the race on the medium tyres. You just had to play it pretty safe. Without that incident, we'd be a lot further up as well. So yeah, it looked like the right way to go was to start on the medium tyres. Even though it was raining, it definitely was the right way to go with this race. And we can see up ahead of us Car's struggling. You can see they just not got the pace with the intermediate tyres through the high-speed corners. And I'm just catching up at such a rate. We're going to get P4 probably without much effort, really. We're just going to get him on extra speed off the exit, on the exit of the corner. And yeah, pretty simple there, down the left-hand side and up into P4. You can see we're 10 seconds behind Mikhail now, with just over 2 laps to go. So need to gain over 5 seconds a lap. This is going to be very close, and I kind of started to get the feeling we're going to get it because the curbs are drying out. There is still a little bit of water on them curbs, but we are starting to catch up lightning there in P1. So over the line, fastest lap of the race so far, but it's not particularly great because obviously we had a lot of overtaking to do. But you can see now, skipping to midway through lap 4, we're right up behind P2 and P3, and we've got a bit of slip now, which is going to help me on the straight. And we're only 7.7 seconds behind Mikhail out. This is going to be very interesting as we go through to the final lap, whether we're going to get close enough to him or not to get the win. As we go through that right-hand corner, you can see again on traction, getting better exit speed. Now we're going to pick up the slipstream to P2 and hopefully get ourselves up into some clean air to push on for that final push to try and attack P1 in this race. So into the slipstream. Cars behind us on inters, we don't need to worry about that. The car in front of us is on inters, so it should be fairly simple to get past. And it's looking very interesting for a possible win. We're starting on the medium tyre in wet conditions, so let's see if this works out. Into the left-hand corner again, you can see the extra grip that we've got. Now, we were running default setup for this race. You did have the option of setups, and setups do make a difference. If you want to check out the setup that I'm using, just jump into one of our live streams when I do this race, and you'll be able to see the setup that I've been using. So it definitely makes a difference with the grip and the speed of the car. It's actually quite surprising the speed that I've gained with a setup. But you can see by the end of lap 4, we are now under 5 seconds away from P1 in this race. So we've gained 5 seconds on the previous lap, and we need another 5 seconds this lap. And we've got no traffic in front, so we won't gain on the straights with slipstream. However, through the corners, I can push 100% and really attack it now and really see if we can get up towards Mikhail. You can see also the curbs are drying out now, so we're not going to lose any time with using the curbs. It's all about maximum attack, mediums versus inters. Now, this is going to be really interesting. We did this race live, so if you want to watch it live, go back to, I think it was on Monday we did this race, and yeah, you will be able to watch the Monday live stream, and it was really entertaining. I think it was a morning stream, so it was the first stream of the day, and yeah, it was pretty intense, chasing after a world champion, a Gran Turismo world champion. He's on probably the wrong tyre at this stage. Well, we all know he's on the wrong tyre at this stage, but overall I think the best strategy was to start on the mediums. It dried out probably quicker than a lot of people expected, and it didn't get wet enough that it caused massive chaos. It was just wet enough to cause a little bit of caution. And you can see by this point now, coming to the end of lap 5, right up behind Lightning now, going into the right hand corner. We're going to get much better traction on the throttle here, so we're going to pick up that slipstream up into second gear, now pick up that slipstream, and we should be able to go for a move here. You can see he's going to the left hand side. He's going to probably cover the right hand side and move over to the right as to get a little bit closer, which he does do. And now I'm going to go to the left hand side and just go around the outside, because I know I can brake so much later with the dry tyres versus the intermediate. So again, brake later, into the corner and up into P1 in this race. That was really enjoyable, and I have to say, thoroughly enjoyed this race. It's a great week. It's a fun combination. I'm not going to let the server issues cause a knockdown in the score. I will say that some of the driving standards probably have knocked down the score slightly. There has been some pretty dodgy driving standards during some of the wet races. But overall, still a very, very solid week and a thoroughly enjoyable week. I hope we get more dynamic weather races. I really do, because they just make you want to keep on racing for that crazy race. And that's what I love about Gran Turismo, when you have them crazy conditions as we go over the line for a P1. But let me know what you'd give this race. What do you think I'm going to give it? I'm going to give this race, I think, a very, very fair and justified 8.5 out of 10. I think if it, it might have crept up to a 9, but I just couldn't give it a 9. And overall, for the whole week, 7.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. Obviously, with Daily Race A and B not being the greatest combinations ever. But yeah, let me know what you lot think. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. We do these every single week. And I'll be back with more live streams and videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.